Hello everybody, I am back. I told you I'd be back. Man, we have had the past couple of weeks some great encouragement and testimonies of how God is working in Belize through the local people, through you guys, through the people of Faith Assembly and just other ministries in Belize. I know I have been encouraged. I hope that you have been encouraged also. Last week we had a great week at Youth Convention. And man, we saw lives changed. It was phenomenal. So in this final week of our discussion about missions and evangelism, I was asked as a cross-cultural minister, cross-cultural missionary, to just share a little bit about how I even got here. It is something that I would not trade for anything. I have been here now for about 7.5 months. I moved here in December 2021, and it has been, man, a life-changing 7 months so far. I am so excited for what the Lord is going to do in the months and years to come. But just a little bit of a backstory. I was born and raised in the church, and my grandfather on my mom's side, so my mom's dad, was so passionate about missions. He was on fire and just wanted to get the good news of Jesus Christ to anybody and everybody all over this world. My grandfather on my dad's side was also a pastor. He was a preacher for pretty much his whole career, and he also was passionate about getting the good news of Jesus Christ out to anybody and everybody. So I've been blessed to be raised in the church and raised with this passion and emphasis put on missions. So let's fast forward a few years. I have graduated from high school. I'm now in college, and I joined a ministry called Uncharted Waters, and it was a sports ministry. And we traveled around the United States doing sports camps, much like the one that we just had a few weeks ago here at DeLille Academy. And part of that summer was an international trip. So most of the summer was spent in the States, but there were 2 weeks that I had the opportunity to go to Germany and do sports camps. And while I was there, that is when I first heard the call of the Lord on my life for international sports missions. Let me set the scene. I was playing tag with a group of missionary kids, all who spoke English, and this one little blonde-haired boy showed up, and he said 3 little words to me in German. He said, "Ich spiele mit," which means, "Can I play with you?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Absolutely." So he started playing, and then all of a sudden, all these little German kids were playing tag with us, and I stood back and I just looked at what was happening, and that's when the Lord said, "This is what I have called you to. This is what I have for you to do with the rest of your life. Spread my gospel through play." So that was my freshman year of college when I felt called to the mission field. I am very much removed from college, and I waited about 17 years before I saw the fulfillment of the promise that the Lord spoke on that playground in Germany. I had gone back and finished school, and there were a bunch of situations in my life that it just wasn't the right timing of the Lord for me to move into full-time vocational ministry on the mission field. And so fast forward to 2019. I am a school teacher at this point in time at a school in Franklin, Tennessee, and I had a good life. I was happy with my life, but there was just something that was unsettled within me, and I kept wrestling with the Lord, and I ended up being able to go to Australia and New Zealand for a month that summer, and the Lord really shook some of my priorities and just asked me some hard questions. And so I knew that a change needed to be made. I got back from that trip. A few weeks later, I came to Dangriga, Belize for the first time in 2019. We did a youth convention, much like the one we just had last week. At that point in time, I had no idea that I would be in Belize full time. Like, it was being a full-time missionary was not on my radar. But fast forward a little bit more, I had hip surgery in 2020, and that's when I really got to evaluate my priorities and what I wanted in life and what the Lord was calling me to do. And that is when it was July 1st, 2020, that the Lord reiterated, I have called you to full-time missions. I've called you to use sports as a form of outreach to create community for people in other countries. And so I kind of prayed about it and started talking to some people. Fast forward to November of 2020. A friend of mine I called it, he sucker punched me in the spirit, because it kind of came out of the blue, but it was what the Holy Spirit needed to do. And he spoke some words through this gentleman that were hard for me to hear, but it ignited my pursuit of the Lord. And so I went into a time of prayer and fasting, and Pastor and Mrs. Evans were in Tennessee at the time as well. And so as I went into that time of prayer and fasting, the Lord made it very clear that I was to go into full-time missions, and this was the timing of it. So I knew I was supposed to, but it had never been the right time. But this was the time. And so I thought it was going to be something completely different. And in that time of prayer and fasting, the Lord said, nope, I need you to move to Belize. I have a strategic partnership for you in Belize. And so I sat down with Pastor and Mrs. Evans, and we talked about it, we prayed about it, and that kind of initiated this whole process. And so fast forward, the Lord provided the funds for me to be able to move, and I moved here December of 2021, and it has been, like I said, an amazing time. The thing is, like I mentioned in my first video a few weeks ago, I don't view missions as something that I'm coming to do to people, right? I'm coming, and my view on missions is I'm here to partner with what God is already doing here in Dangriga, and He is doing some amazing things, and I am so honored that He chose me and He invited me to come be a part of what's already happening, and I get to bring different skill sets or different things to the team. And so I love being here, and I'm excited for what the Lord has coming. There's some great things coming down the pike. And so, yeah, I'm just blessed. And so that is a very long but short nutshell as to how I got to Belize, how I became a full-time missionary. But like we've said before, you don't have to leave and move to another country to be a missionary. You can do it right here, right in your own backyard of Dangriga, Belize. So thank you for your time. Thank you for just listening, and thank you for welcoming me into the family of Faith Assembly. I very much feel welcomed and loved, and I love each one of you guys, and I appreciate each one of you guys. So we will see you in the next video. Until then, remember, act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly.